Okay, this should be fun for everyone. False information on Facebook, kind of a nebulous term, and I'm about to prove where they actually false identified false information. Let's rock and roll. Yada yada yada. Take your independent fact checker from PolitiFact, very left leaning by the way, and stuff it. Odd it is. Nazis were National Socialists. Emphasis on the socialists. That tore down statues. Summer 2020. 2019. Think about it for a minute. We had that same behavior from leftists, Democrats in our country. Ban free speech. The Biden administration, a Democrat administration, their Department of Justice, as well as the FBI and FCC, have done more to censor online voices and other voices that don't agree with them than any administration before it. AKA trying to ban free speech. And if you don't think hate speech is protected under free speech, then you're wrong. Go back and look at your Supreme Court rulings. Blamed economic hardships on one group of people. Every time I turn around, the Biden administration is always blaming Trump for the economic woes of this country. Trump and Republicans. I should point out that this behavior is not unique to Democrats. The blame game is something that is just bounces back and forth faster than the world's fastest game of ping pong. But the Democrats are the only group that blames the hardships they created on their opponents. So, fun factoid there. Institute gun control. You can't say gun control without a Democrat about losing a load in their shorts. So yeah, that's another similarity that a majority of the Democrat Party, especially the ones in office, support, which is also something that the Nazis did. The Nazis, however, went beyond gun control. They went to full-on gun confiscation after they had a registry of firearms in Germany. They just outright put the state before God. I can hardly remember a time when the Democrats were not trying to strip God out of government. It's just the way that it's been. Republicans have occasionally played into this, but more for votes than anything else. It seems to be a major platform for most, including most centrist Democrats. They will sit there and scream up and down that God has no place in government. It is like a Democrat staple at this point. Nationalized health care is also a Democrat staple. The Affordable Care Act, constantly crying for free health care, which, by the way, air quotes on the free there, nothing's free. Comes out of the taxpayer, and yet again, it's another Democrat staple. Placed strict government regulations on industry. Every time we have any sort of Democrat majority, whether they have the White House or not, in the Senate and or Congress, they're always trying to pass more government regulations on business, especially small business. Happens all the time. So, now that we've gone through the facts of what I posted, let's look at their little fact check, and I'll show you where the BS really gets fun. Yeah, I'm aware, I just opened it twice. No, the Nazi platform did not echo the Democratic platform. Actually, I just gave you plenty of examples where they have. We'll even make this a little bit bigger. Goes on about Dinesh D'Souza, some book that he wrote. This guy writes his own friggin' opinion and pulls up some articles from the Daily Beast and a bunch of other stupid places that really make no sense. Well, actually, that is true. You could And you would think that you were reading the 2016 Democratic platform, which is nowhere in what I posted. Does it say a date? Nowhere. Okay. It goes off to go off about what Hitler ran on. I could tell you what Hitler ran on. Killing the Jewish people because they were causing an economic burden, supposedly according to him. Which, by the way, Democrats are screaming up and down that Republicans are creating an economic burden, so therefore they need to be removed from office. Sound familiar? Alright, let's keep going. Some points that might sound similar. We demand extensive development of insurance for old age. This again is about the 2016 Democratic Party platform, not the modern one. Which again had little. I'm actually going to do what I was going to do in the first place. We're going to put two windows up. Let's go side by friggin' side here. Okay. Extensive development of insurance for old age. Where anywhere does it say anything about insurance for old age? Closest thing that's here is nationalized health care. That's the closest thing that's there. Supports the aim of opening up every able and hard-working German for the possibility of higher education and thus obtaining advancement. Nowhere in here did it even mention anything educational. Not once. The state must ensure that the nation's health standards are raised. Again, closest thing that's here is national health care, which, by the way, Obamacare, constant cries for free. The technical name for Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act, to those who don't know this. That's the closest thing to that's there. However, these goals are so anodyne that not only the Democrat platform, but the Republican platform mentioned them in 2016. I have to point out that the only reason the Republicans brought it up was to basically try to carry or cherry pick votes off of the Democrats that were only voting for the Democrats because the Republicans at that point in time were trying to pick off votes for, health insurance related issues. That kind of did work, kind of didn't work. And 3 other cases. Let's see, it's possible to cherry pick language from the Nazi platform that echoes the Democrat Party. None of these are even a part of it, but we'll go through what he lists. All citizens shall have equal rights and duties, with the citizens meaning only those of German blood, whatever their creed may be. Accordingly, no Jew member may be a member of the nation. That was Nazi Germany. Okay, none of that's in there. The creation and maintenance of a healthy middle class. Again, closest thing that mentions even anything close to healthy or class anything is the good old nationalized health care. Oh, and also blaming the economic burden hardships on one group of people. Which, by the way, that's another ping pong ball, too, politically speaking. I'll get into my actual thoughts on the post that I posted and the PolitiFact thing here in a minute, but we're just going to go through the stuff that are here. We demand freedom for religious denominations in the state, which sounds fine until you get to the part where they say, provided they don't threaten the existence or offend the moral feelings of the German race. Now, I'm going to stop this right here. That sounds a lot like the Democrat Party right now. Oh, you're free to say what you want as long as we're not offended. Sounds like a lot of far leftist Democrats nowadays, now doesn't it? D'Souza ignores many Nazi planks that are antithetical to Democrat policies. Colonization, not mentioned once in what I posted. Immigration restrictions, not mentioned once in what I posted. The death penalty, not mentioned once in what I posted. Nationalization of the economy and expropriation of assets, which is not just a Democrat thing, that's also a Republican thing. Look up eminent domain. But again, has nothing to do with what I posted. Restrictions on the press has nothing to do with what I posted here. In fact, actually, the banning of free speech and my thing getting fact checked is actually showing that Facebook, which by the way has already admitted to being contacted and influenced by directly the Biden-Harris administration's FBI and Department of Justice to censor posts that they don't like, and in fact has been doing so under the guidance of them, effectively making them an agent of the Biden-Harris administration without authorization of Congress, by the way, effectively makes this an attempt to ban my free speech by not allowing me to post this without fact-checking me, and oh, by the way, threatening me with removing my non-existent ad revenue on Facebook. Which, by the way, I think their ad revenue sucks. You're better off with YouTube and just about 1,000 other places. Racial purity, again, not mentioned anywhere in here. The closest thing to that is blaming economic hardship on one group of people, which is something that Democrats seem keen to do right now. They can rule Donald Trump Jr.'s post is whatever they want to. None of this had barely a thing to do with what I posted at all. Not one thing was a solid point refuting what I posted here. And I commented the same thing below. Also, your fact check doesn't mention any of the things in this image. Wow. You're going to threaten to ban my Facebook account because you don't like what I say, Facebook, or should I say Meta, because your AI is programmed by a bunch of leftist knuckle draggers who wouldn't be bothered to check the information in what they're trying to get banned. I should point out that most of this stuff here is actually very nebulous when it comes to the grand scheme of history. A lot of governmental bodies have torn down statues. A lot of governmental bodies have banned free speech, blamed economic hardships on one group of people, instituted some sort of weapons or arms control of some kind or another, nationalized health care. That one's probably within the last 1,000 years a pretty new practice, I would imagine, but I'd have to research that one. I'm not exactly a healthcare historian. There have always been strict regulations on industries, no matter what industry it was, dating back to, well, pretty much about the time industry became a thing. They were pretty lax when they first started because they didn't know what to regulate and what not to regulate, and now the regulations have gotten out of control to the point where you're almost spending more on regulations than you are developing the product. Point is, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, I'm calling you out directly. You're a bunch of fucking scumbags. Your fact checks aren't even fucking accurate to the point that I made. And for that matter, this quote that I have here in the image is not actually even remotely what Donald Trump Jr. said. Donald Trump Jr. just went to broadly point out some similarities in the 1930s Nazi campaign, without actually getting specific. This is very specific examples of similarities between the current 2024 Democrat Party, including the far left, and 1930s, 1940s Nazi Germany. There are similarities. You don't like to hear it? Too bad. You don't like the truth? Too bad. The truth is not there to make you happy. It's not there to rub your little whatever you got down there to make you satisfied or get you off. That's not what it's there to do. The historical facts are as such. Nothing that you put in this PolitiFact article for a fact check is even relevant to anything that was in this image. Not a thing. And another point that I made, projecting much there, Meta. Find me anywhere where this particular item says the Democrat Party at all. It doesn't mention them once. It just says, does this sound like the policies of a current political party in the U.S.? With a question mark. It actually poses a question. It doesn't say what party it's associated with. Not one. So, that tells me right there that you know this stuff is true. And you just put a strike on my account because you didn't like what I had to say. You are politically biased and influenced by this administration and therefore need to be stripped of your Section 230, I believe it's Section 230 protections, or is it 320? I forget. The numbers kind of elude me sometimes. Protections, declaring yourself a platform when you are in fact declaring yourself an editorial by threatening to ban my account when I post something that you don't like. That is not what a platform does. You are not a platform in doing this. You are, in fact, by definition, an editorial. I think that's about going to wrap it up. And I do advocate for you being stripped of all legal protections as such.